Hey everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening to the Course Building Secrets podcast. Whether you're a coach or a CEO, the success of your team and clients is based on your ability to deliver a consistent experience and guide them on the fastest path to results. This podcast will give you practical, real-life tips that you can use today to build your online experiences that get results and create raving fans. Why? So you can monetize your expertise and serve more people without adding more time or team to your business. If you're looking to uncover your $1 million framework, package it, and use it to scale, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, in this week's podcast, I want to talk about who controls your time. I was talking to a client today, and she mentioned having to figure out when to reschedule a one-on-one client that canceled at the last minute. And it prompted a greater conversation with her about who actually owns her time. So she was trying to scramble to reschedule a client meeting that they canceled at the last minute. So I asked her, I said, well, why do you feel like you have to reschedule if they canceled? And she said, well, they've paid for a certain number of sessions, and so I have to figure out when to fit it in this week. And I said, well, but if they're canceling, they're almost forfeiting one of their sessions, right? Because they're canceling at the last minute. They didn't give you any notice. And really what's happening is it's showing that they don't necessarily value my client's time, right? Because by canceling last minute and saying, well, I have something else that came up, regardless of what it was, they're putting it back on my client to actually figure out how to fulfill on, what she thought she could fulfill on. And so in this episode, I want to talk a little bit about how do you set boundaries? How do you actually enhance your customer's relationship by setting boundaries and being very clear about what your time is worth? Because I'm going to tell you that the fastest way to burnout is to try and accommodate all of the variables and all the things that happen in your client relationships. So let's dive into that just a little bit today, because I think it's an important topic that a lot of times we don't talk about. We just assume that it's our job to figure out how to fulfill on everything that we have promised, regardless if the customer is pulling their weight or not. So let me use just an example to get us started. So if I go and schedule any type of spa appointment, say it's a massage or a haircut or a color or whatever it is that you go and do at the spa, there is a policy that usually comes up that says if you cancel within 24 hours, or if you're not a spa person, let's use another example just to drive this point home, is I reserve a room at a hotel, right? So in either case, if you cancel within 24 hours, you still have to pay for that service or for that room. And the reason is because the company is on the hook, right? They haven't been able to sell that service. They haven't been able to sell that room because you've reserved it. And so the expectation is, well, yeah, if I'm canceling last minute because something has come up, that I am just going to eat that cost because I made a commitment, I made a reservation, and if I have to cancel, then I have to eat that cost, right? That's sort of the norm for these different businesses. So my question to my client was, well, why don't you also value your time enough to say if you cancel within a certain amount of time, either you are forfeiting your service, or you have to pay regardless of if you show up or not. And it was interesting because she hadn't really thought about it from that perspective before. And I said, well, isn't your time worth more than trying to figure out now how to change everything around? And it happens to be her son's birthday on Friday. And she said, well, I'm going to try and reschedule that client. And, I'm going to try and do it around the birthday celebration, but I may have to change things and, and all these different things. And so my question for you as you're listening to this today is, how do you value your time? Do you set expectations? Do you train your people that they can just cancel and reschedule at any point in time? Or do you have something in place that actually holds them accountable to not only respect your time, but for you to get compensated or be very clear that if they don't show up, they're not actually going to get that time from you during that week. They're forfeiting their ability to use your time. And so really being clear about that, we were talking about a different company that is around her same industry. And if you don't show up for a class or a session, they actually charge you for not showing up. And she said, well, my people would never do that. And I said, well, is it because they would never do that because of who they are? Or is it because of the way that you've trained them, right? Because everything is about clear communication. Everything is about setting expectations. And so if you're setting the expectation that somebody can cancel on you at the last minute and you will, figure out how to work around your already busy schedule, be it clients or family or other obligations, you're just teaching them that's okay for them to do and it's no big deal. And so my course building tip for you today is really think about how you're either setting an expectation that you don't want to be setting, or how do you start looking at valuing your time first and then helping your clients value your time so you aren't burning out, you aren't trying to accommodate unrealistic expectations or setting yourself up to fail because you don't have any of these policies in place. You don't have any boundaries that you're setting for your customers and clients. And I think it's industry standard for hotels or, airlines or spas or whatever else to say, hey, if you don't show up, you don't get your money back, right? Like, you forfeit the right to get your money back, and you can't just jump on another plane. You can't just grab another room for free later on when you change your mind, right? And so as service providers, as people who are doing one-on-one services, my question really is for you to dig into that for yourself is, are you setting boundaries? And are you valuing your time? Because the thing is that if you are clear about valuing your time and what it means if your time isn't respected or valued with your customers, it doesn't mean you're not providing awesome service. It doesn't mean you're not showing up at the highest level. What it means is you're valuing your relationship with that customer to say, hey, I am reserving my time to be with you. If something comes up, if you can't attend, if something changes, then value my time enough to respect the fact that I'm not gonna bend over backwards to reschedule. And there are some exceptions to the rule, that. There are some exceptions, but in general, if you set expectations, people know that they need to respect your time. They need to respect your boundaries as much as they respect theirs. And most of the time, they're not even thinking about it, right? Because they haven't been given the expectations. They haven't been told that this is, how you want to work the relationship. Because at the end of the day, and I think this is another trap that we all fall into as one-on-one service providers, as a lot of times we think about how to serve, how to give them as much value and help them with results as much as possible without thinking about the fact that we're still running a business, right? We're still providing a service to them as a business owner, not just a friend, not just someone who is, there for them whenever they need it, right? So consider that as you even just, if it helps you, look at the math, right? Look at what it means to you to have to change your schedule, change and rearrange things and adjust and do all sorts of things on a regular basis if you have clients who are rescheduling or canceling at the last minute. How does that affect you from a business perspective? So if that helps you make it a little bit more objective, really look at that in terms of the cost to you and to the business when you're not able to fulfill appropriately and you have to make up that time. All right, so a little bit of a different course building secret today, but I really wanted to dive into that because it was something that we were talking about this morning, and I think it's something that we all struggle with at different points of our business. And how do we draw those boundaries? And boundaries are not bad. Boundaries set expectations that actually enhance the relationship. And so when you think about that, and you think about clarity in communication, clarity in relationship, clarity in expectations, it actually helps the relationship grow because everybody's on the same page. You probably have had those experiences where things weren't communicated, and then you're not real sure, or one person's disappointed, or one person is challenged, and it affects the relationship. And so think about that as you are setting boundaries. So my question for you today is, who controls your time in your business relationships? And really thinking through that, and then set some policies, set some expectations the next time you have a new client or a new customer, and say, here's what it looks like when we work together. Here's what it looks like if you can't show up for a session. If you cancel a week in advance, great. This is how we can reschedule. If you cancel within 24 hours, here is what that means. You do not get that session for the week, or I'm going to, continue to charge you, or you have one session you can do that for, but none of the rest of them, or however you want to set it up. But respect your time, respect your boundaries, and that will lead to more respect from your customers. So there you go. There is my course building secret for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. The best thing you can do is to take action on an idea or tip that resonated with you. To help you take action, I have a free gift for you that you can download in the show notes. During each episode, we publish an action plan worksheet and other helpful takeaways from our speakers in the Course Building Secrets Creators Lab. To register for free, click on the link in the show notes. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Tara Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.